So by now, a lot of people know that this Tyler boy was a member of the extreme alt-right.
Go back and watch that creator's whole post. Basically, she's talking about how there was no real deep purpose behind the assassination, no real manifesto or anything. It was really just for the LOL of it. And something I've been talking about lately in my videos is the importance of creating initiations for our youth, especially the young boys, because they have an immense amount of power in their chi, in their life force energy when their libido starts to come online. And this libido can be used to create worlds or destroy worlds. And they're not being oriented, and they're not being honored, and they're not being given a direction for their how to direct this energy in a way that creates a beautiful world, and they don't understand their place in the collective. So I'm advocating for parents of teenage boys to give them two initiations. The first one you need to give them before puberty really kicks in. So this is when they're still sweet. This is when they're still sweet before they start to get a little teenage attitude, okay? So the first ritual, you need to simply honor their soul and recognize their unique soul sovereign self and how important they are and what their unique gifts are, and allow them to present themselves to you and a small group of core people who will always have their backs, like their godparents, their grandparents, their favorite inner circle people. They need to present themselves on their own terms, including their identity, whatever kind of lineages they carry. I'm just planting a seed for this concept here. If you're really serious about doing this, then you can either create your own based off of what I'm saying, or you can contact me and I can walk you through it and you can create your own initiation. So the first one is simply to say, we see you and we love you so much, and your soul is so important, and you bring special gifts to the world. So this is for our new earth parents. So there's parents who are thinking about this already, like, how can we do things differently? Things are not working. We're missing something here. So I'm telling you, this is one of the things that's missing, okay? So before they really hit puberty, you do that one where you honor their soul. And then and the second one, when they do hit puberty, when they're a young teenager, maybe around the age of 16, they need to be put through an initiation that's like a big challenge. Our ancestors did this, and the reason that they did this was to help them access their own strength and to put things into perspective. So the most obvious example of something like this is in Mexico, we do sweat lodges. And in the sweat lodge, there's a point where it's very dark and it's very hot, and you kind of feel like you're gonna die, but you don't die. But in that moment that you feel like you're gonna die, you get very humble, and everything comes into perspective and into alignment. And you start to say, oh my God, dear God, if I get through this, I promise I'll be a good person. And you start to make a list of like all the people you need to apologize to, or you just think of like what you're gonna do when you get out of that, right? So something that can be done for teenage boys is creating a challenge for them, like a wilderness retreat with no food and no water for 24 hours and like 3 days of silence. You have to craft this, okay? We're not going back to what our ancestors did. We're moving forward. We are the Rainbow Tribe. Our youth need rituals and rites of passage in order to orient them, to recognize them, and to honor their soul mission, honor their power, honor their gifts. Because this boy, if he's doing this for the LOL of it, which makes sense because I have 3 nieces and nephews who are teenagers right now, and I understand like what they're going through and what kind of orientation they didn't receive, and what the school system and the video games and all the mental health institution stuff has done to them. And it's not orienting them in a way according to the greater law, okay? So man's law, or the law that is currently accepted as the mainstream right now, that's obviously destroying itself and crumbling right before our eyes, that law is not the law. It's just a law. It's a law that is in the process of destroying itself. There's a greater law. The greater law that goes beyond what they teach you in school or what kind of laws exist in the United States right now. The greater law is the laws of vibrational energy, the laws of a harmonious universe. And if you are building the new earth, which is a win-win-win, which is the heart frequency, which is what Jesus Christ was talking about, which is what Buddha was teaching, which is what the great prophets were pointing at. That's why Jesus wanted to scrap their laws. He said, you guys have too many laws, no healing on the Sabbath. The real law is love, laws of vibrational energy. And there's a greater law that is karma. So what we're experiencing now in the United States and actually in the whole entire world, there's really nowhere you can hide right now. It doesn't even matter if you're on a tropical island. There's nowhere to hide right now. The karma in every lineage is coming up. So we need to begin to do things to align ourselves with these greater laws of love and to stop the cycle of karma. And that is also what Jesus was talking about. He was saying we don't have to just keep looping in this karma over and over and over. We can practice forgiveness. Okay, but I digress. I'm talking about the rituals. So for the girls, it's very important to honor their moon and to talk to them about how powerful this creative energy is that they have, and how with this creative energy they can create a movement, they can write books, they can create humans, they can create life, they can do so much. And it's important to orient them and be very careful with the television, because I can literally see as like the toxic programming is coming into my nieces and nephews, I'm just cringing. I'm like, I remember I grew up without a TV, but then we got one again when I was about 14. We got a TV again. I didn't have a TV from around the age of like 7 to 14. But when we did, there was this program at the time, and it was like about, like, I don't know if they were in high school or college, but it was about these kids and they were like dating and stuff. And I wasn't even really watching the program, but I remember looking back now that I've done all this work on myself and psychology and medicine ceremonies and all kinds of stuff, I can literally remember when the toxic programming came in that distorted my perspective of relationships and sex. There is an attack on the family. There is an attack on the individual. There is an attack on the sacred masculine. There is an attack on the sacred feminine. So we need to tune into a greater law. Look to what your ancestors did. Look to what your ancestors said, but we're not going back. And we don't even really want to go back. There were distortions there too, but there's also wisdom. So we need to take the good, and we need to let our hearts guide us, and we need to walk each other home to the new earth. You are your own guru. You are the master now. It's time for you to step into your mastery, and you're going to be leading the way, because not a lot of people have done this yet, but people will follow you. You can't expect people to understand you. You can't expect everyone to do it all at once. You're going to go first, and then there's going to be a domino effect. But you're being called to embody the change that you have so been longing for. You're the one that's been asking questions. How can we do this differently? Just remember, the heretics of today are the heroes of tomorrow. You have to go first, but we're already at somewhat of a critical mass of like maybe 10% of people are awake. So it's just going to get faster and faster and faster. People are so ready for a change. So this is definitely something that you can do if this resonates with your heart. You can do this on your own at home, and you can craft your own things based off of the guidance of your inner wisdom. And if you need extra support in this, you can reach out to me. My website is lovelikeanocean.com. I help people craft rituals and rites of passage for youth. I also guide ceremonies. I do interdimensional healing. I do all my work on a by donation basis, as I have been taught by the many peoples of the earth that I have studied with. I will be guiding some of these rituals in California in May for groups of young women and groups of young men. If this is something you're interested in, you can find my email on my website or in my bio. Thank you.